Welcome to Royal Secret. It was a moment steeped in tradition, emotion, and symbolism. As the gates of Fredensborg Palace swung open this week, a wave of royal anticipation swept across Denmark. Not since the days of Queen Margrethe's reign has the country witnessed such a significant royal transition at this storied summer residence. Now, a new royal chapter has begun, with King Frederik X and Queen Mary stepping gracefully into the historic halls of Fredensborg, claiming it not only as their summer home but as a renewed symbol of their reign. This isn't just about a change in address. This is about legacy, about power, about how a king and queen are choosing to shape the emotional heartbeat of their monarchy. And as they arrive at Fredensborg with their 4 children and a nation watching, one question echoes across the Danish landscape: what does this royal move really mean? Fredensborg Palace is no ordinary summer home. Nestled on the eastern shore of Lake Esrum, just north of Copenhagen, the Baroque-style residence is more than just a royal retreat. It's a deeply symbolic fortress of Danish heritage, diplomacy, and memory. Built in the 18th century under King Frederik IV, the palace has long been associated with quiet power, reflection, and intimate royal moments away from the flashbulbs of the capital. It was at Fredensborg that generations of royals, including Queen Margrethe II, hosted foreign dignitaries in lavish white-tie galas, held emotional family events, and made historic decisions behind closed doors. It is known as the Palace of Peace, and now, its halls are once again echoing with the voices of a reigning king and queen. Their arrival was not heralded by trumpets or fanfare. In true Scandinavian style, the moment was elegant, understated, and yet deeply symbolic. As King Frederik and Queen Mary arrived at Fredensborg this week, they did so with quiet confidence. Wearing calm expressions and coordinating outfits in muted summer tones, the royal couple waved to gathered locals and photographers from the gravel driveway of the palace. Their children, Crown Prince Christian, Princess Isabella, Prince Vincent, and Princess Josephine, followed closely behind, a subtle reminder that the future of the Danish monarchy is very much in motion. Royal courtiers confirmed to Danish press that this summer marks a planned and meaningful return to the palace, intended not only for rest but also for significant planning. Sources suggest that Frederik and Mary intend to use the next few months to finalize key transitions in their new royal roles, including appointments to their court, updated charity initiatives, and preparations for a major autumn tour. For Queen Mary, this move to Fredensborg carries even deeper meaning. The Australian-born queen has spent over 2 decades transforming public perceptions of what a modern consort should be. From mastering the Danish language to becoming a global advocate for women's rights and mental health, Queen Mary has earned respect far beyond Denmark's borders. But Fredensborg is more than a summer escape for her. It is the place where she and Frederik built some of their most meaningful memories, celebrating anniversaries, hosting their children's baptisms, and retreating after state tours. For Queen Mary, the palace represents stability, privacy, and purpose. According to a senior royal aide, the Queen views Fredensborg as a deeply personal and family-oriented space. It's where she can work, reflect, and plan for the future, not just of the monarchy, but of the issues she champions globally. This may explain why Mary has reportedly requested updates to several palace rooms, including a redesigned study where she plans to conduct remote meetings with international charities and dignitaries. Though often seen as a retreat, Fredensborg will function as a working royal residence for the king and queen. Aides confirm that the palace will serve as a backdrop for key summer diplomacy, private receptions, high-level strategy sessions with government officials, and even the drafting of speeches for Denmark's National Day. One source inside the palace noted, Fredensborg won't just be about rest, it will be about renewal. The king and queen want this summer to set the tone for their reign. There are whispers that the couple plans to host a quiet but impactful summer summit at the palace in July, inviting leaders from Nordic nations to discuss regional cooperation and sustainability. On the streets of Fredensborg town, reactions to the royal move have been filled with warmth and cautious excitement. "I think it's lovely," said one local florist who has prepared bouquets for past royal events. Fredensborg feels like their true home. When the king and queen are here, the town feels different, more alive. A nearby shop owner echoed the sentiment, noting that when Frederik and Mary reside in the palace, local tourism quietly surges. People come hoping to catch a glimpse, and there's a sense of national pride in the air, she said. However, Not everyone sees the move as purely symbolic. Some critics have asked whether the royal family's relocation to a second palace during a time of economic challenges might seem out of touch. Still, palace sources maintain that the couple is mindful of public sentiment and plan to balance visibility with restraint. This move also marks an important chapter for the royal children, especially Crown Prince Christian, now stepping firmly into his future role. Fredensborg has long been a place where Danish royal children grow up with a sense of responsibility and heritage. It was here that Christian took his first steps in public, where Isabella explored the gardens on horseback, and where the twins, Vincent and Josephine, built their earliest childhood memories. Sources suggest that this summer, Christian will take on a more visible role, potentially attending some small-scale public events with his parents and beginning training for royal duties alongside his studies. Princess Isabella, now 18, is also expected to support charitable activities over the summer, adding a fresh layer of youth and elegance to the royal calendar. Perhaps no place within the palace grounds is more iconic, or symbolic, than the palace gardens. Stretching for acres and meticulously maintained, the Fredensborg Gardens are often seen as the quiet lungs of the monarchy. They've been the setting for countless royal strolls, diplomatic walks, and even romantic moments between Frederik and Mary. Danish media has noted that Queen Mary is particularly fond of the garden's secluded corners, where she can walk in solitude, often with one of the family's beloved dogs. It's said to be where she thinks most clearly, far from the press, far from the pressures. In the next section of this YouTube script, we'll explore how Fredensborg Palace is being quietly transformed under Queen Mary's watch, how King Frederik is handling the rising weight of his constitutional role, and the dramatic, behind-the-scenes tensions in balancing royal privacy with public duty. But one thing is already clear: this summer at Fredensborg is not just a royal getaway. It is a strategic and emotional cornerstone of the monarchy's future. And as the royal family settles into these sacred halls, the Danish people, and the world, watch with anticipation. As the sun casts golden light across the Baroque facade of Fredensborg Palace, the Danish royal family's presence feels both timeless and transformed. King Frederik and Queen Mary have officially returned to the palace for their first summer as monarchs, and while the arrival may have seemed serene on the surface, what's unfolding behind those historic walls is a subtle but powerful recalibration of the Danish monarchy. The public has seen the photos, the king and queen smiling, strolling the gravel paths with their children, waving from the balcony. But these snapshots only hint at the deeper narrative. Inside Fredensborg, Queen Mary is orchestrating something far more ambitious, a modern monarchy that blends duty with emotion, heritage with innovation, and public service with deeply personal purpose. Sources close to the palace confirm that since her arrival at Fredensborg, Queen Mary has not taken a single day off. Far from being a passive consort, Mary has already begun to restructure how the monarchy communicates and engages with the Danish public. Daily meetings with royal advisors, updates from international charities, and private consultations with cultural leaders have become the norm inside the palace's gilded rooms. She's not just playing the role of queen, one insider revealed. She's actively shaping the monarchy's voice, especially around issues like gender equality, youth empowerment, and mental health. One example: Mary has reportedly requested a revamp of the palace's digital team, aiming to modernize how royal events and speeches are shared across platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and national broadcasts. She wants the palace to speak in a language young people understand, the source added. Another quiet shift happening within Fredensborg's walls is architectural and deeply symbolic. The Queen has begun a slow but significant redecoration of the palace's private rooms. While the official reception halls remain untouched, out of respect for tradition, Queen Mary has personally overseen the transformation of several working spaces. Her goal: to align the palace's interior with her values. Gone are the outdated wallpapers and heavy velvet drapes. In their place, soft Scandinavian palettes, minimalist furniture, and framed photographs of her family in candid, joyful moments. One corner of her office now features Aboriginal art from Australia, a nod to her heritage, and a subtle signal that Mary is reshaping the Danish monarchy through a global lens. While Queen Mary focuses on the modern mechanics of monarchy, King Frederik is embracing the emotional core of his new role. Courtiers close to the king describe him as introspective but decisive, especially in these early months of his reign. Since moving to Fredensborg, He's held long, private walks through the palace gardens, often alone or with his dog, using the solitude to reflect on the weight of the crown. He feels the pressure, yes, said a senior aide. But he is determined to lead not just with protocol, but with heart. In recent weeks, Frederik has met quietly with Danish veterans, environmental scientists, and educators, all without media present. These behind-the-scenes conversations are shaping his upcoming speeches and policy support initiatives. Perhaps most telling is his decision to hold one of his first major royal roundtables at Fredensborg this summer, inviting young climate leaders from across Scandinavia to discuss sustainable policy. It's a move that reflects not only his priorities, but a new, more grounded royal presence. Inside the palace walls, the royal family is not only preparing for diplomatic meetings, but also for a summer of personal growth, especially for the 4 children. Crown Prince Christian, now 17, has taken on new responsibilities that subtly reflect his future role. Courtiers say he is attending more private meetings with his parents, shadowing staff during public events, and preparing his first independent charity trip abroad, a low-profile visit likely to occur this autumn. Princess Isabella, now officially an adult, is stepping further into the limelight. After her successful appearance at her 18th birthday celebration, she's reportedly expressed interest in women's health advocacy, something her mother is actively encouraging. And then there are the twins, Vincent and Josephine, still just 13 but already showing signs of becoming public personalities in their own right. Fredensborg is where they are shielded from the cameras, but also where their royal training quietly continues. A source close to the palace revealed, Queen Mary is particularly focused on giving the children a summer that balances tradition with normalcy. They attend planning meetings in the morning, and in the afternoon, they're allowed to just be kids. Fredensborg Palace has long served as a quiet stage for high diplomacy, and this summer is no exception. Though no formal announcements have been made, reports suggest that several discreet meetings with foreign dignitaries are scheduled to take place at the palace over the coming weeks. Speculation is growing that King Frederik and Queen Mary will host an informal Nordic summit on climate collaboration in July, as well as private receptions with EU ambassadors. There's even talk of a surprise visit from a prominent royal figure from another European monarchy, possibly from Sweden or the Netherlands, adding a layer of strategic relationship building to what might appear as a quiet summer retreat. But these are not grand state occasions with velvet thrones and orchestras. They are small, intentional gatherings, often held in the palace's more intimate drawing rooms, where the tone is frank, the conversations meaningful, and the press carefully kept at bay. With the royal couple's summer relocation also comes a shuffle in palace personnel. Queen Mary is reportedly bringing in a new team of female advisors, several of whom have backgrounds in diplomacy, law, and NGO management. This reflects her ongoing commitment to building a monarchy that champions competence and compassion, not just tradition. Meanwhile, King Frederik has quietly appointed a new chief of protocol known for her meticulous attention to detail and her ability to balance modern expectations with historic customs. The couple has also asked their press team to focus on narrative storytelling rather than traditional royal announcements. They want to show the work, one source explained. Not just the ceremony. Fredensborg is no stranger to royalty, but this summer, the town feels different. Businesses are seeing a quiet increase in foot traffic. Local schools are preparing for potential visits by Queen Mary as part of her mental health advocacy. And town leaders are coordinating with palace staff for community-oriented events later this summer. There's a sense of civic pride, tempered by the knowledge that the monarchy is evolving right before their eyes. It's not just about waving to the king anymore, said one town resident. It's about feeling like they're part of our lives, not above us, but with us. The international press has taken notice of Frederik and Mary's summer return to Fredensborg, and the tone is overwhelmingly positive. British tabloids have called them Europe's most stable royal couple, while Australian media continues to celebrate Queen Mary's enduring popularity. Scandinavian outlets have praised their decision to balance family and duty so publicly. More importantly, global royal watchers see this move not as nostalgic, but strategic. By grounding their reign in one of Denmark's most emotionally charged palaces, Frederik and Mary are signaling continuity without rigidity. They are saying, "We honor our past, but we will lead from the present." In the next section of this script, We'll reveal the emotional legacy of Fredensborg, from royal weddings to personal losses, and how Queen Mary is preparing a never-before-seen tribute to Queen Margrethe within the palace walls. We'll also explore how King Frederik is using private reflection at Fredensborg to shape his legacy, and how the Danish people are starting to view their monarchy in a new, deeply personal light. But one thing is certain: this is no ordinary summer. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more upload.